What's going on, everybody? This is John from Build Better, and I'm joined with
Snagenhoff, and I am super excited about this match we have for you guys tonight.
We are going to be starting our first ever Dex Built Quick qualifier for our league bracket.
Yes, and so far we've already gone through a series of games to determine which two competitors will be facing off tonight.
Okay. And today we're going to be playing the Grand Team Melee format.
All right.
What that means is you are going to be given a team. Well, in the Swiss portion, we were given a team at random, and you could play 4 MCs from that team, and they all start and play. And you go until you knock out all of your opponent's MCs.
But tonight, instead of just being assigned one team, both players will draft 3 teams that they will then face off against best 2 out of 3 to determine who will earn the first spot in the Dex Built Quick tournament.
All right, so will it be Veets or will it be Bitches? We'll find out. First, let's find out the rules to the draft.
So, for this draft, both of our competitors will get one ban. They will be able to ban one entire team. After that, starting with Vito, because he's the higher seed, Vito will draft a team of main characters. Then Cody will do the same. Going back and forth, each will pick 3. One of those picks will go to their opponent. It does not have to be the first pick, does not have to be the last pick. It can be any of the 3 picks, can go to the opponent. During the deck building process, decks may include cards from any set. Normal deck restrictions apply, so if you can't put a loyalty plot twist in a deck that can't have a loyalty plot twist.
Okay.
And the copies of the card, normal copies, extend to all 3 decks. So you can only have, if you put 4 of Charlie 27 in one of your decks, you can then have no more Charlie 27s over in the other 2 decks. But you can split 2 and 2, 3 and 1, 1, 1 and 2, so on and so forth.
All right, well, let's get into the draft then.
So Vito's got his first ban coming up here.
All right, he's going to ban the Prey. I'm not really surprised by this. The sealed feel of that team is just miles ahead of these other teams.
I agree. So many ridiculous cards in the Prey set.
Yeah.
Pulse Rifle, Pulse Rifle as well. I actually like that card a lot.
Yeah, but,
the minigun.
Yes. Stuff happens.
Stuff happens.
Just taking away that easy access to those cards seems really good.
Yeah, I mean, you can still play those cards, but also taking away the MCs like Harrigan, who gets free double attacks the whole time, things of that nature.
Ooh, this is an interesting one. Cody's going to ban the Avengers. What do you think about that?
That is interesting. I wouldn't think that the Avengers would be, other than like Hulk, are the Avengers MCs considered all that strong?
Well, so you have to think about this almost as a limited format. And things like Hulk can get really out of hand if you don't have even the odds. So if you get matched up against a deck that doesn't have even the odds, he can get out of control.
Vito is going to pick the Guardians of the Galaxy as his first team, getting, Gamora, Star-Lord, Groot, Rocket, and who's the 5th MC from Legacy?
Drax.
Drax. Getting a choice of any 4 of those MCs. What do you think of the choice of Guardians of the Galaxy?
Guardians is interesting. Space Cop obviously is great.
Yes.
Gamora being able to KO.
Yeah.
She has a good level up condition as that she can team attack with the other MCs.
Very well. Looks like Cody's gonna get spicy. He's thinking about it. He's gonna take Crime Lords.
Now, I think this is a hate draft.
Okay.
Because Vito is very well known for playing mono Crime Lords, and so taking away the mono Crime Lords ability from him, it's probably what's on in his head here.
Also interesting. Neither player chose to give the card to their opponent first
on the
round.
First, yeah. Right.
See if they go with the second pick here.
Ooh, Wolverine and the X-Men. So X-Men in the first set was really good. Obviously, Storm and I've seen some really good aggro Wolverine decks. It's interesting that what MCs you would pick there, or what characters you'd pick there, because you have to pick between Cyclops or Xavier. Xavier can attack, but you don't have that many X-Men who can come into play for Cyclops.
Very true. Cody looks like he's thinking a little bit on his second pick. Certainly running out of teams to play. I was about to say one thing that would be interesting is picking for Vito.
Giving away the defenders. So this is... So you don't play Daredevil, right?
I don't think so. Daredevil seems pretty bad. I do like what Cody did there, because now the last 2 picks go to him. And Vito's forced to give a pick to him, and then he can make his final pick.
Okay, just kind of feel out where his teams are, what his opponent has given him.
Get as much information possible. He knows all 3 of Vito's teams.
Yep. I'm real interested. Ooh, the company. So we're going to see a lot of Ripley's.
Yes.
That's actually really exciting.
Well, that's required with company, right? They're all Ripley's.
They're all going to be Ripley's. One interesting interaction is one of the Ripleys cannot actually level up until the one that she turns into dies because of uniqueness.
Oh, that is interesting.
Because she transforms into, I believe it's Ripley 8.
What do you think of Vito giving away one of the strongest decks from the World Championship in Warrant Officer Ripley?
Ooh. I mean, if you want to go all in on that route, you actually could, and it gives her more protection. I don't know. I think those MCs will synergize really well together.
Final pick. Ooh. He's gonna go with A-Force. Yes.
Cody's pretty big on Captain Marvel and on Singularity, so this pick actually doesn't surprise me too much. So,
well, John, going into the deck building phase, who do you think's got the advantage from the draft?
From the draft, I think I have to give it to Cody right now.
I tend to agree. Vito being stuck with defenders kind of hurts.
Yeah.
And I'm not 100% sold on his Guardians of the Galaxy X-Men picks, but maybe he'll brew up something spicy to prove us both wrong.
Well, if there's anything he does, it's jank. So. All right. So while the competitors build their decks, let's take a look at some of these teams and kind of get an idea of where you think they're going to go with each. Let's start with the X-Men. What do you think is going to happen with the X-Men?
Well, one thing Vito did interestingly that applies with both X-Men and Guardians of the Galaxy is he went with alternate win conditions. Deadpool can win the game by himself, even without stunning all the rest of the main characters. So I assume he's going to go with Deadpool. Who else do you think he's going to run?
I think if you're going to go in with the Deadpool round, because you have to be able to stun their entire board. So Wolverine and Storm.
Absolutely.
I don't think Professor X is good for that particular strategy if that's what he goes with. Another strategy you could go with is kind of the all-in on his level 3 Wolverine. Mm-hmm. And because Wolverine is able to make multiple attacks at level 3, he could use Wolverine as a bigger attacker who can just stun all their MCs at every turn.
Yeah.
So, on the defender route, knowing Vito, he's probably actually playing the Daredevil.
Yeah, Daredevil's been one of his favorite characters. He's definitely playing Daredevil. He's also got Luke Cage, who isn't going to takes much less stuns. I think Doctor Strange is the odd man out here in this situation. Mm-hmm. There's just I think it's going to be hard to build a deck around Doctor Strange in this format, and also to be able to counter one of Cody's decks.
That's probably fair. I would like to mention that Ghost Rider is probably one of the better MCs, actually. That's one of the cool things about this league is when you change the rules up of the game, things like Ghost Rider get better, because when any of your characters, that includes your other MCs, get KO'd, he's going to gain XP.
Not to mention for his level 2, there'll often be 3 extra characters on the board for him to ride through.
That's true. That is very true. Let's move on to Guardians of the Galaxy. Who strikes you as the odd man out getting cut from Guardians?
It's tough. Pre-Legacy, I would have said Groot. Mm-hmm. But Groot's level 3 makes him much, much better. And it's tough to know how these games are going to go. Groot favors a long game. You want to get as many resources into play with Groot to make him as big as possible.
Okay.
But because there's three more characters on the board for each player, you could say, well, the games are going to go longer because there's 3 extra characters. But also, the games could go shorter because there's 3 extra characters. There's 3 more attackers to go in. So
you can just boom, 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 stand every turn.
It's tough to know. If Vito thinks it's going to go long, I think maybe Drax or Rocket's the odd man out. If he thinks the game's going to go short with his Guardians deck, I think Groot's the odd man out.
Okay. My personal opinion is that Groot will probably end up being the odd man out. And here's why. Drax has lethal. Lethal is a great cleanup.
Very true.
Like,
very true.
Keeping your lethal guy on board all game is great. Star-Lord, I like because he can team attack with Rocket from the back row.
I think Star-Lord did no matter what.
Yeah. And Gamora is definitely a no matter what. Because she can team attack with the other MCs, stun one of their MCs, and then eventually use the Godslayer blade to start just KOing your opponent's characters. So, I think it's probably going to be Groot on this one.
I can see that. Absolutely.
And that also frees up some of your card slots for because you don't have to run things like Mantis or any kind of acceleration.
Very true.
Let's take a look over at Cody's stuff. We should start off with A-Force. Who do you think is going to be the odd man out for A-Force?
It's an interesting question. You could say, like, Phoenix is going to be difficult to level. Because side characters... I feel like Phoenix is difficult to level by herself anyway, unless you have a deck built around her. But, it is nice that it counts the side characters in the KO pile. But also these again, it's hard to know whether the games are going to go faster or slower, depending on how the decks go. Although, good thing about Phoenix, she has 7 wounds, which definitely sets her apart from the pack. Also could be Sister Grimm. Sister Grimm brings a lot of versatility, but also she's rather frail, and she has to die to level up.
Right. I actually think that Singularity will be the cut, because A-Force, like, the Sister Grimm decks are already a deck and constructed, and in this format, characters get stunned a lot, so she's going to be able to level and de-level a lot. Plus, this might, it's hard to say, but this might be the Loyalty deck, which opens up a Pixie Singularity deck.
True.
Which you have 2 flyers to protect your combo.
And you would not want to have the main character Singularity out. Yeah. So.
Well, I'm sorry, not Loyalty. It would just be a regular deck, because you'd want your big things like Fing Fang Foom and things.
Very true.
But, my eye got caught on the Crime Lords, which I do think is the Loyalty deck, because of their Loyalty plot twist is really interesting in this format.
Absolutely.
Because you get to smash one of their MCs, get it up, smash it again, and then all of a sudden you can change this 4-on-4 fight to a 4-on-3 fight very, very quickly with the right draw, right?
Yes. And also, I think this is a super aggro deck because Venom gets really fast. Bullseye can, like, start clearing the way, although he's very expensive. He is very expensive to do his stuff. The question, my question is, if it's an aggro deck, does Kingpin find a place in it?
Maybe just because he can level up. Like, he might be your late game assurance. Like, it's going to be inevitable because you want to run a lot of locations in this format anyway, so you can use all your characters' powers. Plus, he's just kind of better than Winter Soldier.
Yeah, Winter Soldier. It's unfortunate. It's just Winter Soldier's
maybe Winter Soldier's not that bad, and because, like, again, when you change some of the rules of the game, a lot of things change.
Very true. And also, this is an observation I had from my game, which I lost to you in, as a matter of fact. But you don't necessarily have to level your main characters for them to still be useful. Now, obviously, you do want to level your main characters, but if they don't level, it's not the end of the world. I was very competitive with you through most of our game, and none of my main characters leveled.
Now, this actually, I didn't think about this until you got to going. An Expanded Empire is actually, because I was just talking about, building up those resources so that you can use your other characters' powers. Going to find resources seems pretty good.
Very true.
Like, you can kind of pick which ones you need for the situation, right? Let's go to our final team here, which is the company, which, honestly, I'm super excited. It feels like a Clone Wars kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, all these Officer Ripleys and stuff.
I think, I mean...
What's the strategy? Because we're not cutting a character. What is the strategy?
If he has a stall deck out of these three, it's this one, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, Warrant Officer Ripley is probably the best stall deck in the format anyway. Mm-hmm. Using that to just wait it out. I mean, the negative of this company deck is that all the Ripleys have 5 wounds. Yeah. So you are... Like, most decks end up with an average of, like, 22, 23 wounds. So you're limited to 20.
True, but actually, if you... There's one of them, Ripley 8 goes to 2 wounds, and her level of condition is that you heal all the wounds off of her. So, like, she pseudo has 6, and I believe that Sister Ripley turns into her. So, like, that's going to be tough because... Like I was talking about in the draft portion, Sister Ripley can't level up until Ripley 8 is dead, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think you're right, and this is the stall deck because you throw those 2 up front to kind of ground and pound. I think these guys are leveling.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to be an equipment-heavy deck because you want Lieutenant Ripley to level up, and Warrant Officer Ripley can daze them without losing the equipment. The 2 Sister Ripley gets XP for characters melee attacking, and like Ripley 8's kind of like your tempo with the -1/-1 counters.
Yeah.
This is the deck I'm most excited to see played.
One thing I think is going to be interesting as these characters build their decks is where do their Predator and Prey cards end up? Because I think Predator and Prey bring a lot of very strong cards to the format that not everyone's used to playing with.
Right.
And I think this company deck is where a lot of his Predator cards are going to end up. Because I could just... Well, first of all, Warrant Officer Ripley's incredible equipment. She's got tons of synergy with equipment. And Active Camouflage is just, I think, one of the most bonkers cards in the entire game.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it fits in very well with his company deck.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you all for joining us for the draft portion of the video. Now, before we get into game number 1, we're going to get it started with some quick player profiles on our competitors.
All right. And first we've got Veets. I've played with Veets a lot, and I can attest to the fact that he does love the jank, and he is a luck sack extreme.
Is that all he loves? The jank?
Well, he loves lots of things.
All right, just wondering.
Favorite team, not a surprise here, he has the Crime Lords, and he has played this team since the Defender set came out, so... Again, not a surprise.
Unfortunate for him that Cody picked it away then.
Yeah. Under weaknesses, we asked him what his weaknesses, and he told us that it was his secret. There were no weak cards in his grandfather's deck. So.
All right.
And then we asked him a random fact about himself, and he says that he will always try to make the pre-mulligan hand work.
Okay, so he likes to play the first draw.
Yes.
All right. For Cody, he told us his strength is baking. Good strength to have, I guess.
Good to have life skills.
Yes. Weaknesses. He eats everything he bakes, so no self-control.
Okay, well, hopefully that doesn't hinder his gameplay.
You know, hard to see how that does play into the gameplay.
Random fact about himself. He does not refer to animals by their given name, only by their species.
That is incredibly random and also incredibly weird. His favorite team affiliation is Cavaliers. I assume that means the Cleveland Cavaliers, but maybe it's another Cavaliers. Who even knows?
Who knows? An odd one, this one.
Yeah, a bit strange. So, but it'll be interesting to see how these two match up and how their differences in personality, shall we say, work on the field.
Yep, and we will wrap up this video here, and we will catch the first round in the next video.
Sounds like a plan.
See you guys there.